being a loyal listener, a soulful seeker who still wants to hear the content that I'm making. So, as you can see, today I am coming back from hiatus. I've got a very special guest here and someone who's very dear to me. So, I'm excited for you to meet her. Today, I've got Melanie Jean, a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a woman after my own heart, went to SWIHA, Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, and is a very, very gifted practitioner with many modalities. And I will let her tell you all about them because we both know I'll make a mistake.
Mhm.
Melanie, thank you so much for being here. Tell us about you.
Hi, Amanda. Well, I think your most loyal listener.
You're
I
so
love
sweet.
your show, and it helps me get all my chores done. So I am a clinical transpersonal hypnotherapist. I work out of St. Albans, Vermont. We're right on the Champlain Islands region in the border of Canada. Um, so I do hypnotherapy and massage, and I teach Reiki and practice Reiki. As far as modalities, life between lives, hypnotherapy, past life regression, lots of different ways to soothe the nervous system, which is really what's most important to me. And that's how I landed in this field. I was receiving meditation training with a spiritual element to it. And that was extremely, extremely helpful to me. And then down the road, I pursued hypnotherapy, which
Yeah.
very similar, but I call it on
So,
stick.
besides hypnotherapy, you're also a Reiki master and teacher, and you're also a massage therapist and an end of life doula. What order did those happen in?
Well, I was a social worker my whole career until uh, actually I've been a social worker all along until the last few years when I solely went 100% into my practice without any social work. I call them W-2 jobs. So I've always been a social worker. What was your question? When did I switch?
Yeah. What order did things kind of go in from Reiki master teacher and massage therapist and end of life doula and hypnotherapist and candle maker?
So it all started when my dad passed away in 2009. And I had experienced multiple tragedies at once. Every tragedy that they say can happen to you, which is like really difficult, like moving your house or getting a divorce or someone parent dying, all of it happened at once. And it really impacted my nervous system. I was having sleepless nights, nightmares, anxiety. I'd wake up from nightmares and think about what I was dreaming about. And I was like, no, that's your life. All of these things are actually happening right now. So I had some personal experiences in my life where I had to nurture my closest people, my first husband, and my dad, back from motorcycle accidents when I was about 18 or 20, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
And I realized things that I thought you wouldn't survive from, you can actually survive from. And they both survived. And I was by their side for that. And so when my dad had another accident in 2009, um, I said to myself, I've been here before. They're going to survive. I didn't panic like I did the first time when I was young because I
Mhm.
said, I already know that you can survive. And my dad actually lost his shifting leg and still rode a motorcycle for 15 years with a prosthetic leg.
Wow.
However, the release button is on this shifting side. And so
Mhm.
sometimes he would release the leg while he was riding, but it did not stop him.
Mm. Oh
And he
my
ended up,
goodness.
yeah, he, I admire him so much because I watched him go through that process. And um, after he had went through that process of learning to walk and talk again was the same time as my first love. He had a motorcycle accident and a brain injury, and his recovery took a lot longer.
Mhm.
But my dad basically had to learn to walk again. And one day he says, "Well, go pull my bike out of the garage." So I'm like, "Okay." The bike is very heavy. It's like 800 pounds.
Mhm.
It was the same bike he had an accident on, and he had it restored. And so I'm pulling it out of the garage, and he's like, "Let's get on it." And then we get on it, and he says, "You know what today is? It's the anniversary of my accident." And I'm like, "You should have told me this before we jumped on it, but okay." And that was
Oh my
my dad.
goodness.
And that resilience really stuck with me. So when I experienced all those losses at once, I said, "Here we go again, but I know how to do this time. And it's no emergency. We're all going to be okay." And I, it wasn't okay. He did pass away. I had to take him off life support 2 months later. It was a very traumatic experience for me. However, as soon as he was buried, I started riding a motorcycle, driving it myself. And my family said, "That's wild. Why would you do this when you keep having these experiences with men with motorcycles? Like, shouldn't you just hang it up?" And I'm like, "First of all, my driver's gone." And
Yeah.
no, it's joy in life. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I had to teach myself to ride again. And I was really struck with post traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and grief, prolonged, complicated grief. And it was
Yeah.
complicated and prolonged because it was the same wound I had experienced in my early, maybe I was probably 19 years old, and now I was like 30 ish. My math is terrible. My resilience is good. My math is bad. And
Okay.
so um, I had to learn to regulate my nervous system with meditation, yoga, hypnosis, all the things. And that's how I switched. But I recall thinking to myself, if a starfish can grow another leg, I'll be okay. Yeah.
Of all the people I know in terms of resilience, adaptability, entrepreneurial skill, you're definitely a starfish. You have grown extra appendages every time we talk. You're working on a new one. And you're one of few people who I find kind of keeps up with me in that way. And usually people are exhausted by me. They're like, I don't know how and why you do all this. So I love that we get to share that same quality within our friendship. Technology is so weird today. My light just went. We're having fun.
Mhm.
But I love that we get that. We get to share that and we keep each other motivated in growing in our personal development and our business development. It's been such a fun friendship this far.
Well, it's a superpower. I think it's post traumatic growth that
Yeah.
really it does. It's like you either, if you're running for your own healing, you're taking personal responsibility for it. That's how you win. And you have to go through the process to survive. And you do adapt and you do grow extrasensory skills and talents and gifts.
Yeah. So, in that process, where did the hero's journey start to make an impact on your life?
Well, I started learning tarot at that same time. And the reason was is because I started to doubt my own intuition. And I said to myself, "Well, I didn't see that coming. I thought we were good this time." And my relationship fell apart. And I said, "I didn't see that coming. I thought I found the one this time." And so I used tarot to help me nurture my intuition. And it was the tarot moment of the tower. The tower moment is what I call it. But I kept pulling that card repeatedly. Every time it was like the one that would fly out of the deck. And I was like, "Here we go again." But I learned so much from that experience. I love the tower card and I love the fool card. And now I don't cringe at the tower because it is when things fall apart and it's no fault of your own. And I feel like it's a divine intervention. And as soon as the dust settles after any tragedy, the community starts to rebuild and we do too. And then you come back with that extra growth, that post traumatic growth. And I just don't fear anything anymore. There's a few things I get nervous about, a couple, and you know what they are. But I still even treat that with grace. I pray about it. I allow it to come, and a miracle always comes right in time. And I think the tarot, by utilizing that for so long, and seeking my own healing, it just showed me how to go through the spiritual process and live on the path and surrender to faith and just be like, I'm going to trust that the universe is bigger and smarter than me. And it's been good. It's been really good.
It really is much better that way because I do things the hard way. You know this about me. I know this about me. Every time I try to do things on Amanda time, it never works that way. So there is something about that surrender and divine timing that's true, that when we learn to trust and go with it, that's when the bigger gifts and graces come through. At what point did you start doing the tarot, the hero's journey, and then bringing journaling into play? How did that end up in the mix?
Well, that just happened. Okay. So the last 6 months,
Yeah.
um, I was doing end of life caregiving with someone, and it was multi complex. The person had dementia, traumatic brain injury, compulsive lying, like all types of things that made it really hard for me because I had agreed to walk with a stranger till the end of their life. Like, are you busy? No. Sure, let's do this. He was also an artist, and we had that common thread that of tarot and symbolism. And so I did have a creative block, because I get distracted and I run for the next exciting thing, and I juggle too many things at once. And in hypnosis, that's one of the most important things. They say, make sure they journal. Every client I ask, they're like, wah, wah, wah. I don't think they're doing it. And so I'm like, I can't even slow down enough to wrap my brain around it. But being in this situation, that was the gift of my friendship with this person, is that we had a common language. He couldn't remember yesterday. And so by making art side by side, I was able to take pictures of our experiences and print them and use them in the journal. And then he gave me a whole bunch of tools like embellishments and stickers and things that helped me put words to what I was going through, because it's really weird meeting a stranger. Usually we'll fall in love with any stranger that you give any amount of time to get to know them. And it's like, here I am. I'm going to walk into this dangerous territory again, like to lose someone that I'm going to grow attached to. And that's the nature of end of life work. And so I was like, how am I going to maintain um, groundedness knowing I'm going to experience deep grief? And I'm not a person who just dusts myself off and walks away. Like, I really linger in prolonged grief. That was my experience in the past. So we would make side by side art. I was able to use the imagery in the journal to remind him where we went, what we did. We did a lot of fishing, and I would use those images of the fish we caught and use them as metaphors for life and relationships, and process my own feelings. And then he was able to say, where did we catch that fish? And I would have to write it down, because I wouldn't remember if I didn't write it down, and how many fish we caught and things like that. And we listened to tons of music together. We had, oh, there was so much music in the background. And so that was layered in there. And it helped me to process love and loss simultaneously.
So you also have hypnosis baked in there with the metaphors, the anchors of using music and the fish that you caught. Were you doing that consciously, or was it just the hypnotist within organically functioning?
No, it actually allowed it all to gel together and integrate. And that's why I love it. And my friends would come over and I was like, look at, this. Do you do scrapbooking? Like, look at this. And they're like, oh, can you teach me? Like, I love it. Can you teach me? And the I just used gifts that he gave me, stickers and all these embellishments and things that was great. But then I have like decks and decks of tarot cards and oracle cards, some of which I use, but the majority of them I'd like pick two top favorites and then the 8 decks just sit there on a shelf. And especially oracle cards, I never got it. And I was like, I just don't get it. But I do have some favorite artists. So I would buy their oracle decks. And suddenly animal totems also, like I had many animal decks, which I love animals, but it never integrated. But using them in this context of like cutting them apart and using them in the collage, all of a sudden I understood it better.
So I know, because I'm very fortunate to know you and be part of your life, that you've got this incredible monthly opportunity coming up for this exploration of the hero's journey with tarot, with journaling, collage. I know this is hard, but within the span of 10 minutes, and we'll come back another day and do a longer episode for Melanie, I promise you guys, because she's really fascinating to get to know. But just for the context of today and time restraints, who would this journey be for? And what would they get out of it if they decide to join with us? Because I'm attending.
Yay! It's for anybody, it's open to anyone. You can pick your own journey. You decide what you're going to focus your journey on. It's 12 months long. Um, we'll meet once monthly via Zoom on a Wednesday evening at 6:30. You decide what you're working on, whether it's a healing journey or you want to get fit or you want to move, whatever it is, build a house. You choose your overarching goal. And then I'll give you some tips and some um, tools for shaking those out. And you'll learn the tarot in the process, because the tarot is based on the hero's journey. So ultimately, we are each the hero in our own journey. It's very self empowering when you realize that there are some universal spiritual things, mystical things that happening all around you. But when you pay a little bit of attention and participate in the conscious universe, realizing that it's all up to you and it's your path, you grow. You grow. And you learn to be more adventurous. And also by documenting it, you're able to count your blessings and you're able to say, oh yeah, that happened. And I just taught a Reiki class last week, and a couple of my girlfriends are also taking the class. And I feel like it was perfect timing because I started the class for those two, just like, let's just do this online so we don't live close enough to each other. And and they wanted to learn Reiki at the same time. And I was like, perfect. And they're both on some self healing journeys. But by teaching collage documentary journaling this way, anybody who wants to do any change can learn benefit from that method. And it's just easier for me than to say, hey, get out your journal. It's like if they can process and participate, they'll maybe understand the value of documenting the process of change and the journey.
I
Yeah.
think it's super validating too. I know the times that I've done the year ahead tarot scope for myself. It's validating to see that, oh, something is going to happen. So I actually just did this last, I want to say January. The Creative Apothecary always hosts this year ahead look with tarot, and so you sit there with multiple decks and you start going through the months of what's coming. And I remember sitting there going, "Uh-oh, what's happening in March?" I was like, I don't think I like the looks of this. And actually, March did have a whole bunch of things for me to tend to. But I think because I had it kind of mapped out, I knew something was coming, even though I didn't know fully what it was. It kind of let me off the hook in a way of, oh, I'm not responsible for this. I couldn't have avoided this. There's nothing I could have done to have prepared for this. This was signed up and going to happen, kind of thing. So I think it's
Mm.
validating in that respect. But then also, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I go to journal, if I'm not doing emotional intelligence work and the things that I've taught myself to use, I don't always know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for those who want to journal, haven't found comfort with it yet, this could be a great practice to help them to open that skill.
Yeah, and this use of symbols is is just fascinating because it awakens you to what's happening in your dreams. And a lot of my friends will say, I'm not writing anything down for somebody to find it. And it's like, you know what? I don't really want to either. But the process of being hand to paper and external and then looking at it and saying, oh, yeah, that is what I was going through. And that was real. And you process it and you look at it in different ways. And then when you can look at it um, through the lens of the hero's journey, which is uh, kind of a predictable pattern of any journey, any human journey, you can give yourself some grace and not be so scared. You're like, man, we all go through this. And we can, it's up to us where we go and how we want to live our life and what we hold on to and what we let go of. Yeah, I'm super excited.
When does it kick off?
September 17th. And if you go on my website, it's a pop up and you just go to the booking link and you can book online there. It's free. And you join by Zoom. You'll get a materials list. I won't do a ton of art instruction. It's not about that. More about mastering the journey with grace and joy.
And that is epiphanyhypnotherapy.com.
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully, we'll come back. One of us or both of us will put links for you guys to join. But come on this journey with us. I'm going to be there attending and just going through the experience. Melanie is going to be instructing, holding space, and bringing her many, many gifts. How wild to have an end of life client that you're anticipating giving the gift of your time, your compassion, your care, and then you walk away with just an incredible gift yourself in terms of how you navigate your work.
Yeah. And I do feel like it was divine, like a divine intervention. Yeah. You got to accept those when they come. Like, oh, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that is very true. I thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Amanda. You're literally my favorite podcaster, my close friend, and I just love you to pieces. I appreciate you so much.
We'll come back and do this again when we can have a full hour to delve in a whole lot deeper. But, Soulful Seekers, I just wanted to invite you
Mhm.
to join Melanie on this journey. It's going to be incredible, and I will see you there. Thank you so much for your time and your energy today and for sharing these incredible gifts. And I think we'll leave it there for now. But bye bye. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay well, but most of all, stay